the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River, a waterway was to be had for the passage of ships from the Atlantic to the Gulf of Mexico. But this midpoint had one drawback. It had to be portaged. As far back as 1673, Marquette and Joliet explored this area. Portage from the Fox to the Wisconsin River. Others followed, like Hennepin and Duluth. This halfway point lies in a unique geographical location. The Wisconsin River flows south into the Mississippi River, while the Fox River flows east into Lake Michigan. On this narrow strip of land between the two rivers, a settlement grew, resulting from the traffic of the two rivers. It was first known as Wawaona in Winnebago, meaning carrying on the shoulder. When the French occupied the area, it was called La Portage, from the word porter, meaning to carry. As the settlement grew, the name of Portage was accepted. So did the business establishments grew, as well as to lift the burden of portaging. Sometimes ships weighing as much as 10 tons and empty at that. The demand for a canal increased as early as 1828. Thus, nearly 50 years passed before a canal was completed. The Fox River waterway starts at Green Bay. The first lock is at De Pere, and on through 17 locks to reach Lake Winnebago at Menasha. Then south on Lake Winnebago to Oshkosh, where the Fox River starts again, and on through Lake Winneconne. Then it narrows, meets the mouth of the Wolf River, then south again through towns of Amro, Berlin, Princeton, Montello, and at last the Portage Canal, meeting the Wisconsin River. Looking at this graph, Green Bay's elevation is 578.5 feet above sea level. At Lake Winnebago, it is 746 8/10 feet above sea level. A necessary lift of 168 3/10 feet over a course of only 40 miles and 17 locks to do it. At the Wisconsin River, it is 783 7/10 feet above sea level. Thus, another lift of only 36 9/10 feet to enter the Wisconsin River. It can be easily understood why the last 106 miles with 9 locks and dig 1 canal at Portage should be built. The total distance for the Fox River waterway is 163 miles. Our interest is the 106 miles to see what it looks like today and what it looked like at the turn of the century. Today, the city of Portage has not changed much and appears to be just as busy as in the past. Its citizens treasure the past history and have contributed their share to a growing country. The downtown has many old buildings. The Tilden House dates back to 1776, still stands in the downtown area. Zona Gale, an author and a Pulitzer Prize winner. This home she had built for her mother, located on the east bank of the Wisconsin River, not too far from the canal. Another is the famous historian of the frontier theory, Frederick Jackson Turner. Today, Portage is known as the city where the North begins, a stopping point for the vacationers going north, keeping this community of 8,000 busy, and the citizens would like to keep it this way. The Portage Canal has not contributed much in later years, so in 1951 it closed all of the locks down to Berlin, Wisconsin, leaving only the Eureka lock in operation along with those to Green Bay. Today, the Main Street Bridge over the canal is gone, filled with earth over a culvert, allowing whatever water seeps through these old block gates at the Wisconsin River flow past the banks of this canal, once 75 feet wide. Past history of this canal? Well, stopping at the Portage Library with the help of the librarian, a folder comes out. Reading it is interesting. Sometimes it seems the stories are conflicting with each other. Old-timers, a few remember the canal's heyday, the smell of smoke, escaping steam, the slow chugging of steam engines that drive the paddle wheel, and the engine's signal bell, the loud blast of the whistle. Why not make believe we board a boat and let an old-timer tell what it's like in his time around the turn of the century? It is a beautiful late summer day when we board the steamship at the dock on the Wisconsin River, when an old-timer turns to us and says, "Hello there, young man. First trip down the Fox River? I've forgotten the number of times I shipped down the old Fox, even helped build the Portage Canal and some of the locks. Yeah, that's the engine room bell. I guess we'll be going pretty quick. Yup, we're off for the lock. Down the ways. We'll find the lock gate open and ready for us. There's the entrance to the canal. We'll drift slowly in. The lockkeeper likes to take his good-natured time. You check the passenger list and then all the freight. I guess we're in the lock now. You see that bridge up ahead? The bridge tender will have it open before the captain even blows the whistle. That's the Main Street Bridge in Portage. Just east of the bridge, once two ships couldn't pass each other. I was about 14 or 15. That was around 1850 or 51, I guess. Yup, and they blew their whistle. And, it stirred up so much commotion, the whole town turned out on the banks, each cheering for someone to win. It turned out one back to the Wisconsin River and the other back to the Fox River. It was a kind of a funny thing. Looks like we're going down. Yup, we're going down. It won't be long. Yup. Like I said, the bridge is open. It's a beautiful sight along the canal now, quiet and waters and fishermen along the banks, boats tied up, really pretty now. I remember one time when we were making the canal deeper and wider, we planked up the bottom and shored up the banks with 12 by 12, I guess, timbers. And it was a kind of a hurry-up job. Yup. The next morning, after the water was left in, they found the bottom planks and the timbers afloat. And, what a mess that was. You could walk across the canal on the planks. Looked kind of funny then. Back then it was pick and shovel, wheelbarrow and donkey carts, and of course a lot of hard work. When the U.S. government took it over, that was around 1870, they came with steam excavators and construction cars and a lot of other machines. It made it 75 feet wide and 7 feet deep. That's right. Just the way you see it when it was finished in 1874. Made some darn good wages here, working long hours, though. Well, young man, just around the bend, a little ways, a bridge open. That little rascal, ever since the railroad bridge was built, the Fox River waterway traffic has been dropping off. Oh, yeah, we're still going, though. About a mile from here, we reached the Fox River. Yeah. From here to the east, a short distance is where Marquette and Joliet camped, and then Portage to the Wisconsin River. A little farther east, a few hundred yards, the Fort Winnebago was built, overlooking the Fox River. Only the sergeant's quarters and the garrison school still stands. Yeah, I guess he was a graduate from West Point that built the fort. Came out here somewheres in I forget the exact date, and built the fort. Later on, during the Civil War, he became the president of the Confederate States. Never met the man. Young man, this is mighty pretty over here. We're nearing the Winnebago logs, and another 300 feet is the Fox River. I guess we'll have to wait a while. A boat's coming up the lock, and we're stopping. We're gonna wait. What's that up there? Oh, that's the old agency house. A fellow by the name John Kinsey was an Indian agent. He lived there with his wife only a short time. Later, he and his wife moved to Chicago, and a short time later, when living in Chicago, you lost everything in that big Chicago fire. Yeah, that's right. That's what they say. The house up there was pretty nice when the Kinseys lived there, but got real cold inside in winter, even with the thick walls insulating. The walls insulated with the bricks. That's right. Yep. Later, the government sold it and used it to be a tavern. Yes, sir. That was one place you could buy a good drink of whiskey. Yep. Now it's an old farmhouse. I guess we're moving. Yeah, we're moving again. Looks like the lockkeeper's ready for the ship. No, I guess he's letting the rowboat in. It's kind of busy here today. Now we're going. This lock will take us down about 6 or 7 feet, and a couple of hundred yards down is the Fox River. At the Wisconsin River lock, we drop about 9 or 10 feet. Yup. The next lock is the Governor Bend. Right across the river used to be an Indian trading post. Just about where you see those trees beyond the riverbank. Yeah, that's right. Well, I guess the river is a little low. Not much rain lately. Looks like the fisherman in the boat is going downstream to do some fishing, I guess. Yeah. Well, I guess the gate is open. Some will be down soon. No, we'll pass the rowboat. And on our way to Governor Bend Locks, there's a sharp bend ahead, too. Looks like a ship coming up the river. won't have any trouble making it to Governor Benlock. But a lot of sharp bends. Yeah, there's the dam, and the governor's, and that's right, that's the Governor Lock. It'll be clear sailing from here on through Lake Buffalo, and then on to Montello. There's the lock. Some pretty good fishing by the dam, though. Pretty island for some picnicking. He's a good captain and knows how to stop his engines and stop, right in the lock. That's going to be pretty darn quick. Down only a few feet. It didn't take long, did it? Lake Buffalo, it's like a wide river. It's about 7 miles long and about 1/3 to about maybe 3/4 miles wide, and it curves like a crescent. That's right, like a crescent. Some real good farmland along the way, getting kind of settled though. There's a few summer homes along the river and the lake, mostly around Montello, above the dam and lock. On warm evenings, the captain would get close to the shore or the riverbank, as close as he could, and as the ship would drift downstream, you could hear them singing. They call them, I guess, something like barber shop quartets. Were really good to hear. Looks like the captain is heading for some entertainment. There's a couple places just ahead. Yep, there they are. Can you hear them? Nice to hear them singing. Not too long ago, they had a parade of boats. And the thing was that floats would be decked up and lanterns and the candles, and one forehead, one of them newfangled kind of lights. They say Edison invented. I guess he called it electric bulb or something like that. Yeah. You know what happened? One of them newfangled things exploded, and those in the boat all jumped in the water and swam for shore. What was left was pretty floating towards the dam. Darn near went over. It looked pretty, but it looked kind of funny though when they jumped in the water. Did you say you had something called a Venetian night on a Root River in Racine? I don't recollect a place like that. It must have been pretty, and the music and singing makes a man feel good though. We're heading for the dock. Captain says he's got more freight to take a couple of hours during the night. Montello is a hard-working town. They got the hardest granite rock in the world. Yup. Yeah. So they say. It's a pretty-looking rock. They even cut the stone for statues 12 feet high for General Grant and Robert E. Lee.
The base was 5 by 7, 10 or so inches thick, all polished up. Some very fine work come out of Montello. Yup. Poles and Germans and Scots and Italians, a lot of good workers here. They come from the old country, worked about 10 hours a day, and started for about 75 cents a day. And after a while, they got $1.50 a day. Yeah, the town is mostly up on the hill. Pretty though. Kind of busy too. Well, I guess we'll dock. I guess I'll stop at the Hotel Granite a bit. In the morning at sunrise, we'll be heading for Princeton, I think. Yeah, Princeton. See you in the morning, young man. By the way, while you're here in Montello, see the town. It's a kind of a nice place. Yup. I see you're aboard the ship, young man. The captain says we'll be leaving any time now. It's not too late. Yeah, that's it. Met some old friends back at the hotel. Said they're heading for Princeton. Some kind of dunes there. It won't take long. We'll be in the dock. Said that having some special dunes down there, I guess some kind of special day. Yeah, the bridge is open now. It takes about 10 minutes. Be down another 7 or 8 feet, maybe 10. I see the lockkeeper is doing some checking on passenger list and some kind of bill of ladings. We're dropping now. Yup. A few miles down, we go through the Grand River locks. Since them railroad boys built a railroad around here, the river traffic is not too busy these days. These lockkeepers sometimes are out fishing. Once not too long ago, the captain of the boat had to go and wake him up. Fell asleep. Took about an hour before the boat. Oh, there's the Grand River Lock. Yeah, he's there today. This is a kind of lonely place, flat, marshy land. A lot of it is diked up. Good hunting grounds, though. Sure didn't take long. We're down about 4 feet or so. That sure was quick this time. There's several bends downstream before we enter Lake Buckaway. It's about 8 miles long and about 2 miles wide. It's a beautiful lake. The captains makes up pretty good time. Don't have to worry about the bends. They say fishing is good. It's a pretty lake. We'll be passing a real small town, Marquette, I guess it is. Yeah, Marquette. You know, young man, they expected Marquette to be the state capital one time. Yeah, but that's right. It fell through, though. The town was named after Marquette when he stopped here and had something to do with them Muscatan Indians and Miami Kickapoo Indians. Yeah, that was around 1673, somebody once mentioned it, called it the land of wild rice and celery and plenty of fish and fowl. Yeah, and I see the captain's slowing up. The river is pretty straight from here, a few miles, then makes a big U-turn. After that, it's the Princeton, yeah, that's right, the Princeton locks. You see, some pretty nice country around here. It won't be long. We'll find a lot of geese and ducks on the lake, and not too far from here is a marshy land. They call it, I guess, Harkin Marsh. And, the geese will settle here for feeding before they fly to the warmer climate. Yeah. Well, just about now we should be nearing the Princeton Lock. You know, one time a boat left Pittsburgh. I guess that's in Pennsylvania, and came down the Ohio River and up the Mississippi River and then turned up the Wisconsin River and then to the canal. Yeah, that was around 1855, I guess. Yeah, then down the canal and through the Fox all the way to Green Bay. That's right, to Green Bay. It was a kind of a small steamboat, though. That's the Princeton Lock, yep, and a dam right up ahead. The lockkeeper, he's getting ready. You know, he's got a pretty good job. Gets around $25 a month for 8 months, and he can live there the entire year. Yeah, kind of nice. It's really pretty around here. It's been raining around here a bit, so everything is nice and green. Oh, he must be having some trouble with the gate. As I was saying, sometimes it gets pretty dry. Yeah, come to think of that young man from West Point, that was Jefferson Davis. Yep, that's it, Jefferson Davis. He built the Fort Winnebago for the protection from the Indians, but later they didn't need, so the government sold it and was used for construction workers. Yeah, that was when the canal was built. And he's got the gates open. Yeah, we'll be in Princeton soon. Some kind of celebrating going on. They call it, let's see, yeah, that's right. They call it the German Day, with a big parade and mighty fine horses and wagons, all decked out. They gather on Main Street and at the river. The parade ends there. Yeah, Captain slung the boat. Yep, we'll be passing Warren's Park. Sounds like the celebration has started. Yeah, that sounds like that German band, all right. A fellow by the name of Charlie Clark has a big barge and docks on Main Street. Yeah, the people at the parade, when it ends, get on and they get towed to Warren's Park. Yes, sir. Yeah, listen to that music. I'm getting off here. The captain says he's stopping. So, we'll stop at the docks just beyond the bridge. I have some old friends and help them do some celebrating. Yes, sir. That's the whistle for the bridge. Yeah, slow and easy does it. There's the dock, and looks like a lot of them are gonna take the boat up to Wernkins Park, and they'll have dancing. Yeah, that's the day they pick a queen for the day. Yeah, mighty pretty one too. We'll dock soon. Say, young man, look the town over. Lots of good food and very fine beer. Yeah, that's it. Take it easy going down the plank, and thank you for keeping me company down the Fox. Have a nice time here.
So we fade out of the trip with the old-timer. Imaginary? What he said could be true. At least what came to light while searching the almost forgotten folders, books, and boxes of old papers, photos, written and printed material that seemed to tell the same story. Now, most of the locks are filled with earth, like this one at the Grand River Lock. The walls of the lock are hard to find, just filled with debris and overgrown with vegetation. The diked-up area widened, making it a parking ground for fishermen. It also has boat landings to the upper and lower levels of the old lock. This old picture appears to be at the same location. It shows the stone block construction, the hand-operated winch for opening and closing the wooden gates, and the narrow dike. At the Princeton lock, crossing the narrow island, is a steel track with a steel frame on wheels. This is seen in the center to the left, and the track extends over swirling water just below the dam. Here the water is nearly at the same level as above the dam. At White River, the lock filled with debris, overgrown with brush and small trees, and this pier extends beyond the lower level of the old lock and a track alongside the upper level of the river. This steel frame hoist must have been used to lift and lower small boats to either side of the lock after the waterway was closed to river navigation. Here the water levels were about the same as seen by the swirling water over the dam. The Berlin lock is empty of debris, yet the water in the lock at first glance makes it appear it is still in operation. The lock's gates have been removed and vertical water control gates installed to control the water flow. Looking downstream, the lock is open to the river. Along the concrete top, a track runs on the lock wall. At the end is a steel frame hoist and a pier. Upstream of the lock is a pier and track that extends out over the water. Again, as in Princeton and White River locks, some means of raising and lowering small boats was made possible at these old locks. Here the dam itself is visible, with the water flowing gently over the dam. Vortex in the water, slowly disappearing downstream. Along the banks near the old locks, fishermen tried their luck with their fancy lures and baits and hoping for the big ones. Trying to find the locks was almost as bad as looking for a needle in a haystack. Lot of dead-end roads, wrong turns, miss the road signs, but keep moving towards or follow a river road. Finally, one sees this. You spot a lock through heavy growth of bushes and trees. Another 300-yard walk, and one finds a lock with real gates. Along the walls of the lock, the grass is neatly cut, fenced off by a wire rope with yellow posts. About 30 yards from the lock stands an old building surrounded by a few tall trees and grass lawn kept neat. Then the sign tells us it is the Berlin Boat Club that helped save this lock, as the plaque nearby tells the story. The Eureka Lock. This is the only lock open to river navigation upstream of the 106 miles from Oshkosh at Lake Winnebago to Portage at Wisconsin River. The area around the lock and the clubhouse appears like wild country, and the reflection in the calm waters only adds to its beauty. A short distance downstream of the Fox River, a bridge, one of the few that cross the river, located next to a village of Eureka, at the crossroads of County Trunk K and E. As the river continues downstream, it passes the Trillium Hill, where at the foot of this hill, once over 16,000 people have lived near the river. They call it the place of the vanished city. The city of Berlin can be seen from the hill, as well as the Fox River winds its way through the city of Berlin. The Fox River traffic around Berlin kept the people busy. Building boats became the chief industry. As in any waters, shipping traffic navigating the Fox River was not without its share of accidents. Yet the people continued to use the waterway as a way of life. The accident of this steamship, the Berlin City, is well described by the survivors aboard the ship at the time of the explosion, found in the old papers at the Berlin Library. From these old postcards, one can see what an active place it was. The factory spewing out its smoke in used-up energy that helped manufacture the goods, then loaded on boats and navigated the river through open bridges and up and down the river locks. Last but not forgotten, the town of Amro had its share of river traffic. Today, one does not see steamboats plying the river waters past this beautiful park, along the river banks that are lined with overhanging trees. While searching through old records along the Fox River waterway, we came across some papers that serious efforts were being made to restore the canal, with many questions. Who owns the land? Who pays for the restoration costs? Who pays for the upkeep? And so it read. Yet if one thinks back, it is part of our early history and our heritage that reflects the way of life of the early settlers. If the Erie Canal is preserved as a historical past, why not the Fox River waterway and the Portage Canal? Back at Princeton, we came across an old postcard. Streetcars in Princeton? That's right, it's on this picture. Uh-oh, so we meet again.
Say there, young feller, you almost started a big commotion here. There never has been streetcars here, and I can vouch for that. Some smart guy tried to make this town look real big. Yep, that's right. Well, I guess I'll be going, and thank you all for taking the time seeing what we have worth saving here. Yep, yes, sir.
An acknowledgement to the following who have been instrumental for the use of old records: the librarians at Portage, Wisconsin, Berlin Library, and the Princeton Library. And, of course, a special thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Bob Wright of Portage, Wisconsin. So ends the trip down the Fox River from Portage to Omro with a little of the past history.